Hi, welcome to the AB Business Podcast. I'm Brittany Fedun. Hello, how are you today?
Hi, good, thank you.
So, first question, what is your business and what do you do?
So, my business is called Elite Fitness Alliance, and we are a small group personal training and nutrition coaching gym. We work with people who are mostly in their 40s, 50s, and 60s to help them with strength training, endurance, sometimes weight loss, and any other goals that they have physically or fitness wise.
What motivated you to start this business and how did you start this business?
Well, I was always somewhat into working out and fitness. It was a passion of mine, and I had been working in a completely different industry in accounting for a very long time. And I started looking at ways that I could get my personal training certification and still incorporate some fitness in my life while I was working a different career. And I ended up getting certified. I really loved working with people and working with clients one-to-one and in group settings. And so the dream career of becoming a fitness business owner actually happened about maybe 4 years ago at this point. And I went into full-time fitness from my career in accounting, and I've not looked back since.
Okay, so how was the jump from your job in accounting to here and how was the journey? And what made you say, like, I'm just gonna go all in for this?
Yeah, it was a transition. It took a while. I would say probably a good 4 or 5 years where I was really doing both at the same time. It was difficult because while I enjoyed the people I worked with at my old company in my old career, the work and what I was doing wasn't feeling as satisfying anymore as training people and helping them get healthier and more fit. So over time, I slowly started transitioning, taking on more clients. I spoke to my job. I told them that I was probably going to be transitioning away from accounting and into fitness. They were very understanding and actually supportive. And so I was working out of my house and I started looking for places that I could rent out. And when I finally found something that worked and that I was able to afford, I decided to take the leap. I was nervous. It was a big risk, and up until that point in my life, I was very risk adverse. However, it just seemed like the right time. I was young enough to take the leap. I was old enough that I had enough experience. And so, my husband also was very supportive, and he said, just go for it. And, try to put your full-time energy into this business and see what you can do. And, here I am now, 3.5 years later.
Yeah. So, Elite Fitness focuses mostly on 40, 50, 60 years old. Why'd you decide that age group?
Yeah.
And specifically that age group?
So while our main focus is on 40s, 50s, 60s, we do still train people, younger, older, and in between. But we found that age group didn't really have a place to go that they were comfortable because, there's the bigger box gyms that tend to have a younger crowd or a faster crowd. There's other types of training, whether it's yoga, Pilates, which don't really focus so much on weight training and strength, gaining strength. So we wanted to make a place for people who were comfortable knowing that their needs would be met. If they had any injuries or issues, even just regular aging aches and pains, that we would be understanding of that because that's our demographic.
Yeah, so what's your own experience with the fitness industry, which kind of made you start this business?
So, we're going a little ways back here, but I had started working, I was in college, and I had graduated, started working my first job, and I was working a lot, and I was gaining weight, and I was somewhat unhealthy, and I was not happy with myself. And I said, I need to do something, and I can't just have an excuse, oh, I'm busy, right? Everybody can say that, I'm busy, everybody's always busy. And so I finally, kind of told myself, you gotta really pay attention to what you're eating. You really gotta pay attention to getting enough exercise. There was times where I couldn't remember the last time I exercised.
Yeah.
And so I said, I need to start doing something. And I woke up and I said, I'm gonna start going to the gym in the morning before work. I'm gonna get a set schedule at least 5 days a week. And I promised myself I was gonna do that. And as I started getting stronger and healthier and fitter, my passion actually really grew for it. And I wanted to help other people feel better. Because I knew how I felt and I didn't feel good. But then making that switch and that transition to a healthier me was an amazing feeling. So I really wanted to help other people feel that way too.
Yeah, so were there any specific challenges when starting this business? Because you said it was definitely like a big jump from you from accounting to this. So what are some specific challenges you had while starting this business?
Yeah, time was one of them because I was floating between two jobs. And it was difficult because I had to work on my business early in the morning and then late at night and then weekends so that it fit around my job. But then also, and I know everybody can say this, that COVID was a challenge. However, I opened my studio, my first studio I opened right before COVID.
Yeah.
So we were only open for a couple months and we had to close the doors. And so I never really got to start. I never really got to open at that point. And that was, that was painful. That was a hard pill to swallow for a while. And I really didn't want that to be the thing that took me out. I knew I had more fight in me. And so, instead of getting upset and saying, oh, well, there's nothing I can do about it, I started working outside and virtual and in home. And I kept the business going until I could get back into a space. But it was a hard hit in the very beginning, just transitioning from a different career to fitness, and then having to overcome COVID in the very beginning of starting the business. It was tough, but I wasn't gonna let it get me, and I knew that I wanted this more than anything, so I went after it.
Yeah, how'd you juggle two tasks like that? Because my time management, I'm very bad with schoolwork, take care of my siblings. I'm horrible about time management. How did you juggle those two tasks at once?
So I will tell you what I tell a lot of my coaching clients.
Yeah.
I live and die by my calendar.
Okay.
I put everything I need to do in my calendar and I make sure I have enough time to do it. Because if you think, oh, I have 20 things to do, and you don't actually look at your time and see what time you have and time blocks, then you're gonna stress yourself out and you may end up getting nothing done. Whereas if you say, okay, I know I need 2 hours for this project or 2 hours for that client, and then you schedule yourself out, those time blocks, they really help you get organized. So that's how I operated. I mean, I'm pretty type A as it is, but I operated within that calendar. Like, that's my work day, and this is what spells out. And you know what? Sometimes the less important things didn't get done that day, and they'd have to get done the next day, as long as I wasn't trying to meet a deadline. But I was able to prioritize, and that's what I do, and I still do it. I still use my calendar a lot.
So you said COVID-19 impacted your business. How was the transition, and how did you make sure to market your business after COVID-19 so more people would come in to your business and stuff like that?
Yeah, one of the perks of training in this type of a facility is it's actually pretty private.
Yeah.
So it's not a big gym where a lot of people are walking in and out. And so people felt safe coming back because they knew there was only going to be a certain number of people, there'd be space, it was clean, it was sanitized. So I did still market. I marketed even throughout COVID. I never stopped because I knew I needed to maintain the business and I had to keep it going. So, it didn't look like this throughout COVID. It looked like Zoom and outdoor workouts and home workouts and 6 feet apart as we were supposed to be. But I never stopped marketing. And then when things started lightening up a little bit and I was able to open up and have more people, naturally people started coming back because they were feeling more comfortable too.
Do you have a mentor or model of someone who helped you starting this business or anything like that? Because it must have been a big jump from accounting to here. And
in the beginning, no, I didn't. And in probably middle of 2020, when I realized, okay, this is gonna be a little harder than I thought. It wasn't like opening a business in, let's say, normal times, right? So it was probably about June or July of 2020. I did actually hire a mentor, a coach, a business coach to help me. And that was a game changer. having somebody to report to. I mean, in the fitness industry, we always say, you know, having accountability and motivation and somebody to coach you and push you is a really great thing. Having a coach to push you in your business is even better, because you have somebody to answer to, you're accountable to, you can bounce questions off of. And so I've been working with that coach, the same coach, for about 4.5 years now. So, so yes, it's to me, I would not run my business without him, because at this point, he's helped me get to where I need to be. And I mean, it's not, you know, he's not here every day. It's a phone call. It's a accountability check-in a couple times a month, and it's helpful.
How do you stay motivated in the fitness industry? Because the fitness industry is a hard industry, so many different competitors. So how do you stay motivated?
So motivation, and again, this is something I say to my clients too, right? Motivation sometimes will go away. That's when the discipline kicks in of, I know these are the things I have to do, right? And so sometimes we don't feel like doing things. We all get that way. Even I get that way about working out or work or whatever it is, homework, I'm sure. But it's the discipline of knowing, if I do this day in and day out, and I keep my blinders on and I stay focused, that it will get done and I will move forward and I will grow. And so yes, there are competitors, or there's, you know, other options, other gyms, things like that. But I think because we're such a niche too, that, you know, people come to us and they see the difference in our service. So, and that to me is exciting and motivating in itself, because I know the more people who know about us, the more people I can help. Right? The more people I can help see their goal and realize how good they can feel and how much healthier they can get.
So what's the most rewarding experience about Elite Fitness as a whole?
So I would say knowing that I am in charge of what happens, whether something good or bad happens, right? Is I'm the one that I have to answer to. And sometimes that feels great, and sometimes it's more difficult and challenging, but I do like having the flexibility of making decisions when I need to, saying yes or no, and having that ability is not usual in a normal, I say normal career, but when you don't work for yourself, right? So I would say that's probably my answer for that.
Yeah, so how has your approach to healthiness changed over time? Because you said in college you just don't think you were that healthy. How has it changed over time? Because fitness, there's always new trends and stuff. So how has it changed over time?
So that's a really great question. So personally, how have I changed? Probably when I was younger, I didn't pay attention so much. And most young people probably don't, because they don't realize how important it is, you know, in the teens and the 20s and maybe even early 30s. It's not until things start going wrong that people usually start worrying about their health. But for me, it really was my early 20s when I started working and feeling unhealthy, and I needed to get out of that rut. And, you know, sometimes there's a point where you just feel so bad that you know you need to do something about it, and you're going to, no matter what. And so I was at that point where I just knew I needed to change something. And yes, maybe the way I worked out in my 20s was a little bit different than now in my 30s, and maybe what it'll look like in my 40s and 50s and beyond. You know, you have to adapt. But in all honesty, I mean, what we do in the gym doesn't change that much. Yes, there's trends. Yes, there's, you know, new and different equipment and ways to work out. But at the end of the day, the type of training that we do, it's traditional. We help people get really good at the basics so that they build a foundation to get stronger and have more endurance and stamina and energy. So there's no trick. There's no, you know, trends are just that, they fade, right? It's a trend for a little while, it goes away, maybe it comes back, it goes away. But at the end of the day, what we do here is, it's not really a trend. It's traditional work, you know, traditional workout, where we're doing compound lifts and we're really mastering the basics. And if you can do that day in and day out, okay, we have fun too. You know, it's not all just work, you know, we do fun workouts, but the things that are trends or fads, they fade. And that's not gonna keep somebody healthy if it's only exciting and fun for a week or a month. You know, it's gotta be something you can do long term.
So this gym, how did you decide how you wanted to coach your clients? And how did you design your workouts for specific clients? Because some clients have different needs than other clients. So how do you decide your workout based on a client?
Yeah, that's a great question. So it depends really. I interview, we do a consultation with everybody that wants to come work with us. And in that consultation, we figure out whether a personal training session is right for them, a group session, or some combination of the two. So, you know, if I have somebody come in with injuries or ailments that is not a good fit for a group class, then one-to-one training might be a better option because we can design that program completely around them. So for instance, I have clients that have had shoulder surgeries or injuries. I've had clients with double knee replacement, hip replacement, things like that, where they may not be comfortable or be able to be in a class with 5 or 10 other people, and they need that one-to-one attention. So in our consult is when we'd have that conversation and figure that out. But then in terms of, let's say, a group session, the group session, I work with the trainers, there's 7 other trainers here, and we decide what that format should look like. And we make sure we're not doing the same thing every single day, because we shouldn't be doing that much repetitive work. But we figure out the muscle groups and the type of workout we're going to do and what the clients need that are in that group. And if we need to modify or change something specific to somebody who's in that group, then we do it right on site. Like, you know, right when they come in to the session, we will figure out, okay, this person needs a modification because they've got a bad knee, they're gonna do this exercise instead. So they can still come to the group. It just depends, you know, how bad maybe their injury or their issue is, or how deconditioned they might be, that personal training is better off. But a lot of the times we are able to work, you know, even in the group with somebody.
Yeah, so you mentioned trainers. How do you decide who to hire as a trainer? And how has that process been for you? Like hiring new members to the team and etc.
So hiring, it's actually pretty tough, I have to say. You know, we have a high standard. We want somebody who is going to be able to maintain safety protocols, knowing the right technique, in being engaging with the client. And I have to say, I've interviewed a lot of people, and not everybody, you know, has the right skill set and qualities to work in a place like this. So it is challenging, I have to admit that. It's challenging to hire people, but when I find somebody that has the right skill set, they're here very long term. Most of our trainers, if they haven't been here since we started, you know, I've hired a few new ones in the last couple of years. So they've probably been with us for at least 2 to 4 or 5 years at this point. So we really try to hold on to them and work well together so that they stay. But the hiring process, yes, it can be challenging because our standard is very high.
Yeah, so how would you say Elite Fitness is unique to other fitness services in the area? Because there's like Crunch, Planet Fitness, there's so much fitness places around it. How would you say this place is unique?
Yeah, so it's more individualized and it's more specific to the client, right? It's not, we are not the type of gym where you just walk in and you don't know what to do. There is always a trainer here with you. So if you're a member here, you're working with a trainer anytime you're in these doors. And if you're not working with a trainer, you're probably coming to meet with me for a check-in meeting or a consultation or a nutrition coaching session. So somebody's always with you to watch what you're doing and make sure that you're safe and that you're doing an effective workout. Right? Because a lot of the times I meet people and they say, oh yeah, I have a gym membership. Well, what do you do? I don't go. Why don't you go? There you go, right? Why don't you go? Because, oh, I'm tired, I'm lazy, I don't feel like going, I don't know what to do. There's so many, you can make so many excuses still. Whereas here, just get here. You walk in the door, we're gonna be with you, we're gonna show you what to do, we're gonna help you, we're gonna guide you. It takes the thought out of it, really.
I had a gym membership, but I just go home and sleep now. I'm just too lazy to go to the gym now. You tailor your services specific to the client. What are the most common exercises you give to the client for them to do?
Okay, so it depends. Most of our workouts we like to be somewhat full body. So that way we're not overtraining any one muscle group. So we do like to start with the basics and the foundational movements, which might be a push or a press movement. It might be a squat, it might be a push-up, it may be an overhead press. We try to hit those basics for each body part. And if somebody is not capable of doing it for whatever reason, then we'll modify it to a less challenging like a less challenging, a regression of that exercise.
Yeah. So in the fitness industry, there's tons of risks that can happen, such as injuries that might happen to a client. How do you mitigate those risks in the gym?
By watching what they're doing, because most injuries happen because people either have the wrong form or technique, they don't know what they're doing, or they're using a weight that's inappropriate for them.
Yeah.
So when we walk around and we see somebody, there should be a little bit of a struggle, right? It should be challenging, it shouldn't be super easy. But if I see that somebody is turning in the wrong way or bending in the wrong way, and they're using a really heavy weight that they shouldn't be using, I'm probably gonna tap them and say, hey, why don't we use a lighter weight? Or hey, why don't you change your posture? Or why don't you make sure that your knees are in the right, spot, or your feet are standing correctly apart? So it's something that we have to constantly watch. Because, right, like we were saying before, most people don't know what they're doing when they come here. They're looking at us for guidance. They learn over time, but we need to be consistently watching what they're doing so that we make sure they're not getting hurt.
Yeah. So again, the mitigating risks. Knock on wood, it doesn't happen, but say another virus like COVID-19 happens. What are you doing to make sure this business stays up running? Because you said it was hard during COVID-19. How do you make sure it's still like strong and sturdy during this thing?
Well, I guess the good news is if that did happen, I've already been through it.
Yeah.
So I would probably have to do a lot of things that I did before. I would keep marketing, the business. I would ensure that whatever safety protocols, God forbid it was another virus, but whatever protocols had to be in place, I would absolutely follow them. If it was a spatial thing, then I'm going to make sure that people aren't touching or using anything or breathing in each other's space. Now it's a little bit different. If we did go into something like that again, I have the experience because I've been through it. So I know that we could do virtual workouts. I know that we can go outdoors. I know that we can go in home. It really is the preference of the client at that point. And you're right, I would hate to have to go through something like that again because it was challenging, but it definitely made us stronger. I can say that for sure. It made us more creative and it made us a lot stronger than before.
So you mentioned marketing. Now at Elite Fitness, how do you market Elite Fitness to other people in East Brunswick and neighboring towns?
So a lot of our marketing is either online, like digital marketing, social media, or word of mouth. I'm also very involved in the community, so a lot of networking, whether that's with other business owners in the Chamber of Commerce. I volunteer my time with some organizations, Mayor Cohen's Charity Fund. So I do meet a lot of people in the area, whether it's residents or other business owners, and you form relationships with people, and then, hey, I might need your service, you might need mine someday, or somebody who needs mine. So there's a lot of networking and word of mouth referral. But then, social media has actually been really helpful in the past few years getting the word out because you could get in front of somebody that you might not have been able to meet or get in front of elsewhere. So we do use social media, mailing lists, things like that. We do some direct mail as well. But I have to say the word of mouth and social media is probably the two biggest ways that we have clients and new members.
So digital marketing. So how has your experience been in digital marketing? And are you on any social medias and stuff like that?
Yes. So in the beginning, frustrating.
Yeah.
I did not love social media. However, once I learned the do's, the don'ts, the rights, the wrongs, and what works, then I started to love it because I realized, okay, this stuff works, right? We have Facebook at Elite Fitness Alliance. We have Instagram at Elite Fitness Alliance. And so what we do is, we'll film a video or an offer or an ad, and we post it up on there, and people will respond, and people will click and call, and next thing you know it, they're in my office and we're meeting to sign them up.
You also mentioned you're at the Chamber of Commerce. How important has collaboration been to the help of and the growth of your business?
Yeah, it's been very important. So I've met people who are clients or who have referred clients. They know somebody. People in wellness and health industry, typically we're going to have a lot of referrals back and forth. So it's definitely helped to get my name and my cause out there. And, people start to see results, then what do they want to do? They want to tell other people about it, right? So they come in, they love it, and then they tell their friends, or they tell their family, or they tell their coworkers, and that just helps, more people get in the door and more people realize the health that they want, how fit they want to be.
Yeah. So you also mentioned networking. So how important is networking? How did you learn the skill of networking? Because me personally, I think I'm terrible at networking.
So I will tell you, when I first started working in my early 20s, I was terrified to walk into a room that I didn't know anybody and have to start talking and build a conversation, and it scared me. But one of the partners that I was working for, I used to be an accountant, I used to be a CPA. One of the partners I was working for, she invited me to go to a networking event with her. Okay, fine. I went with her, we walked in the room, and she basically said, "See you later." And she just, threw me to the wolves, right?
Yeah.
So at that point I had no choice. I had to talk to people. I wasn't gonna just stand in a corner and not talk to anyone. This is my job, right? They're relying on me to talk to people and network and help bring in business. And so ever since that day, I realized, you know what, you can quickly find something in common with somebody if you talk to them long enough and listen, right? If you ask a lot of questions, just like you're doing, you learn a lot about somebody, and that helps the conversation flow. And so just like I do reps in the gym here, our clients do reps, networking and public speaking is the same way. The more you do it, the better you get at it, the less you fear it. So it was just reps and practice, really, for years and years.
You also mentioned word of mouth. How important is it to how do you retain customers so they would be able to tell it to people? And what are some strategies in keeping people keep coming so they can tell their friends? And how do you keep your customers satisfied over time?
Yeah, we really have been putting an effort on our community here. We're a small business. And even in our small group training, you may be working out with 5 or 10 other people. If they're like you and you have similar interests or issues or commonalities, you're probably going to get along really well, right? So what I've found is that having our demographic that we have, that a lot of people are in the similar spots of life, and so these people get to know each other and they like each other, they become friends, right? So you want to really foster that. And what we've been trying to do is having more events that are not just workouts. So now the holiday season, we did a cookie contest, we did a happy hour, we'll have a couple other new things coming up in the new year as well. So we really try to plan things where people have the time to talk to each other and get to know each other a little bit better, and then that camaraderie builds, and then they enjoy working out even more, because even though it's challenging and it might be hard at times, hey, I've got my friend right next to me, and they're supporting me, motivating me, and cheering me on as well.
So how do you foster a sense of community at Elite Fitness, and how important is the sense of community to your business?
I would say it's very important. Our trainers are also very involved, right? So, like I said, most of them have been here for years. Okay, 2 to 4, 5 years, I would say. They get to know the clients too, right? They get to know the members who come to their different classes, and they start to build a relationship. So having that relationship, having check-in meetings, I know everybody here. I know everybody who comes in. I know everything about them, good or bad. Sometimes I know too much. But I think building that relationship really helps to understand what they need and what they're going through. And so they come to a place where they know, okay, the trainer knows me, the owner knows me, the other members know me. People feel really good about that.
Okay, so this is a very tough market. So you said digital marketing as a word of mouth. Are there any other ways you attract new customers to come here?
Any other ways? I've done the digital, I've done the mailer, magazines. I don't really know if there's any other things I haven't hit, but if you think of anything, I'd certainly be open.
How do you measure success in your business, and how do you measure success with your clients in that sector?
Success in business is that people keep coming back and they're happy, or they leave a good review. There's certain financial metrics, sure, of course, but to me, at the end of the day, if people are coming back and my classes are full, then I know they're enjoying what they're doing and they don't want to stop, and hey, that's success to me because they're seeing their results, right? So then on the flip side, A client, measuring results, it depends what their goal is. Some people come in for weight loss, some come in for strength gain or energy, stamina. So based on what that individual client needs, we're going to track their goals. And so if that person is, got their body fat down, got their weight down, can do 10 more push-ups than they could last month, that's how we're tracking, right? How much weight are you able to lift this week or this month compared to last week or last month?
Yeah, so do you want to share a success story about your business and maybe a client who came in and got out exponentially better?
So that's a great question, and actually you may want to get a shot up front because I have members of the month.
Okay.
And so every month, somebody, when you first walk in, we identify somebody who's had great progress. And that doesn't always mean weight loss.
Yeah.
Because that's not what, all health and fitness is not just about weight loss. So we identify somebody every single month and we see, okay, this person has been coming for X amount of weeks or months, and they have, they've hit their goal and they've achieved this, right?
Yeah.
So based on that progress, usually myself, the other trainers will talk and figure out, okay, who's deserving of it this month.
Yeah.
So I probably have at this point almost 20 something success stories out there.
Yeah.
So I think if you want to get a shot, you'll see everybody that's out there.
I definitely will.
Yeah, I'll bring you to see it for sure.
Okay, so I was researching online and they said interior design is very important for the gym because you don't want to come to a gym and it looks like a wreck. So how is the interior design for this gym, and how did you decide to design it in a way?
So I did design it myself, but I knew the type of clients I was going to be taking on and how many I was going to be taking on. So I knew the type of equipment I wanted, and I mean, quite honestly, I measured the space. I'm not an interior designer. I don't outfit gyms, but I knew what I needed in here to do what I wanted to do with my clients. So I, got a blueprint of the floor plan, and I sat down one day and I said, okay, here's what I want to be able to do for my clients. Here's how many people I want to take on. And I just plotted things out. I made sure that they could fit. I had a great contractor help me with it. He actually helped me with my studio prior to COVID as well. And I explained the vision to him and I showed him some pictures of what I drew. I'm not a great artist or anything like that, but I was able to draw some, lines and boxes. And he said, okay. And, he drew it up and he got me some estimates and told me, hey, you want turf here? We'll put turf here. We'll put rubber flooring here. And I think it worked out pretty well.
I think it worked out very well.
Yeah, it's a nice laid place. I'm actually, you can see that spot over there. We took some more space up over there to make more floor space. So that will give us even more, more space to work with more clients as well.
Okay, so affordability while making sure you're providing high quality, because you want your business to be affordable, meet financial metrics, but you also want to have the highest quality you can. So how do you measure those two?
So the quality is a big deal.
Yeah.
I'm sure you've heard you get what you pay for, right? So, okay, for instance, you buy a gym membership and you don't go, right? You're not getting anything out of it, but it's just low enough that you don't care that you wasted $20 that month, right? So obviously we don't operate in that way. So we do cost a little bit more than a regular gym, okay? But what you're getting is a very personalized service. And so we make sure that our quality standards are very high, which kind of goes back to what we were talking about before about the trainers. Because if I maintain a high quality standard, then people come in and they will understand the pricing structure, right? If they see, oh, this is the value that I get for what I am paying, then it no longer becomes a question of like affordability or do I want to pay for it. It's, oh, this service is worth what I'm getting, because they realize, wow, I'm getting a very personalized touch for, my membership or, whatever, if they're a personal training client. And so, yes, it's on us. It's on myself and my trainers to bring a good high quality service to people and give them what they need and give them what they expect. And so when those things meet and are equal, then, there's really no question about the value of your service.
Yeah, so I'm gonna go back to something you said very early in the interview and how you got your personal training license. How was the process of you getting your license? And did you learn any important lessons during the license training?
Yes, so I needed to get a personal training certification before I could start training clients. And so I actually went back to school and took classes because I wanted to make sure I was doing everything appropriately and that I was CPR certified, AED certified. Those are 2 certifications you need in order to do personal training. So I went through the classes. That was probably about eight or so years ago at this point, and took the test, passed everything. I decided to go back and get certified. I got personal training first, then I got group training, then I got nutritional coaching certification. So to maintain them, you do have to take credits, like continuing education credits throughout the year. So I just maintain my credits so I can maintain my certifications. Sometimes there's a little retest or a quiz or something that you need to take in order to get your credits, but I just maintain it as long as I want to be certified, and I will be, as long as I maintain it, is what I'm saying, yeah.
So you started this business, how much years ago?
So it was 2017, early 2017, I think, March.
Yes,
Yeah.
so if you were to start over, is there anything you would do different with your business, or?
Would I do anything different? I'm sure if I sat here and thought about it long enough, I could give you a list. However, I will probably give you the straight answer of no, because if I did anything different, I probably wouldn't be where I'm at today, and I'm very happy to be able to do what I love. So everything I did, right or wrong, indifferent, it got me to here. So I don't think there's anything that I would do differently. I mean, clearly I wish COVID never happened, but at the same time, that was part of my growth.
Yeah.
So, it was something that pushed me out of my comfort zone to be better and keep going at a time where maybe I didn't think I could, but I knew I needed to.
Is there any important life lesson you've learned while working at the gym, or even creating the business in a way?
If you say you're gonna do something, just do it. That's something that I hold true for not just life, but even like my workouts. Like if I say I'm gonna do this today, you better well do it.
Yeah.
Because if you don't have what you promise yourself, if you can't do what you promise to yourself, then how are you gonna do that for somebody else, right? And that's my job, is to help other people get there. So that's probably one of the things that I internally think is important, that do what you say you're gonna do.
Yeah. How important is the role of membership to your business?
It's very important. I mean, I wanna keep them happy, that's why I do this, right? Like, I wanna keep my members and clients very happy, and, that's the whole point of my being here.
Yeah.
Is that they are getting what they need and want from us.
Yeah. If you were to give someone advice, so maybe a business owner who's trying to create a gym somewhere else, what advice would you give them?
To start slow, because I think a lot of people go in blazing into opening a business, and they take a lot of shots in the dark, and they think they need to spend a ton of money and get all the latest things and trends like we touched on before, and it's not the case. Have patience with yourself, have patience with the process. There is a reason for everything. Nothing that comes fast stays long. So the longer it takes you to build it, the more sustainable it will be.
Okay, so how important is innovation in making new exercises to tailor your clients' needs? How important is that to your gym?
So it's important from the perspective of keeping people engaged, because they don't want to just do the same thing over and over again. However, sometimes that's what they need, to do some of the same exercises over and over again to get good at them. But in order to keep it fun and engaging, yes, we do constantly work out new exercises and different moves that maybe people thought, oh, I can't do that, and then they try it and they can do it and they feel really good about themselves. So that's important, but I do tell them, it's important to practice the basics too. The basics are what's going to give you that strong foundation.
Okay, so do you have any long-term goals with the business? Like, where do you expect this business to be in 5 to 10 years?
5 to 10 years, well, maybe a little bit bigger than it is now. I could probably use a little more space if I keep going in the direction that I think I'm going in.
Yeah.
But at the same time, I'm very content. You know, I want to feel like I've helped the most people that I can help. I mean, I don't need to have 10, 20, 30 locations or anything like that. This isn't a franchise, it's just me. So, you know, making sure that I get the most out of this space is important to me. And then, you know, if I can get a little bit bigger and help some more people, then that would be great.
Yeah. How'd you choose the name Elite Fitness Alliance?
So we came up with the name because we actually wanted to sound a little bit different. We didn't want to sound like gym or club or studio. And so Elite, ELITE, actually stands for Empowered Living, Intense Training, and Evolution, meaning we want to empower you to live your best, right? You're going to do some intense training work, but then you're going to evolve at the same time, right? You're going to change. The person I meet you as day one is not the person you become a month, 6 months, a year later, right? You evolve and you get better and stronger. And so we wanted to incorporate that into the name.
Okay. If you were to give advice to yourself when you were a little kid, what advice would you give them?
As a little kid, you know, little me wanted to be a teacher and a veterinarian, and one day I woke up and wanted to be an accountant, and that's what I did. And sometimes I think back and I say, man, I wish I just started in fitness because then I would be doing this longer. But again, kind of going back to like, what would I change? I don't know that I would change what I did because it got me here. And it got me here, I think, at the right time, in the right way. So then I think my message to my younger self would just be to be patient with yourself and understanding. Because even now I need to say that to myself sometimes too.
Do you have any role models in the fitness industry which inspires any of your workouts or how you treat your customers?
I don't know if I have any specific like role model that I look up to or not. I mean, probably trainers that I've met along the way, let's say, because a lot of the experience I have and the enjoyment that I have in fitness and working out is from trainers that I've met or trainers that I've worked with or that have trained me. And that made it so enjoyable for me that I wanted to make it enjoyable for others too. So I would say, you know, people not like influencers or anything like that, but people that were actually in my life.
So this is based out of East Brunswick. What do you want Elite Fitness's legacy to be in East Brunswick with the whole bunch of people?
So I would want people to know that, you know, we started this from a passion project in our hearts to actually help people feel better about themselves. Whether it's, you know, a chronic disease or an injury or something that they felt held them back, I want them to feel like they can enjoy life at the best part of their life. Not just waiting until I retire and, you know, whatever, I've retired and now I can enjoy life. No, it should be at all points. You know, it should be earlier in your 30s, 40s, 50s, 60s, 70s, 80s, however, it shouldn't just be, oh, until I wait to retire. You know, it should be take care of yourself now so that you can enjoy everything along the way.
So usually at the end of the podcast, I like to ask them a fun question. So while working out or doing anything, what type of music do you like to listen to while working out?
So depends on my mood. But I do really like pop music that I can sing to, because sometimes singing gets you through a really hard workout. You know, when you just think you can't do one more, but then that beat drops and you got like a really good chorus you can sing to, then it's not as hard. You know, if you got that good beat in the background, it's not as hard. So yeah, probably any kind of pop music, you know, things with a really good fast beat.
And do you want to plug any events or anything that's happening soon for Elite Fitness Alliance?
Yes, so right now we have some small group memberships. We are running an introductory program, so it's a 4-week program. It's $89 and you can train every day in those 4 weeks. And we'll also do some nutrition coaching with you so that you have a baseline and then you have some guidance and a plan going forward. So for anybody who has seen the podcast, they certainly can reach out, and if they want to do the 4-week intro program, that's up for them.
Okay, thank you. This is a great experience.
Thank you.
And thank you guys for watching.